Welcome to TradeTheMBI.com. This is John's report for the 24th of June. And, well, with the magenta rising, no expectation other than to continue the elevation move. And from the other day, we've stayed above the ABM yellow, and that becomes the threshold. It hasn't changed. It's still at the 42.20 range. So above that continues to be bullish as long as we're seeing that magenta rise setup. Short-term buyers are really what lifted this from that move down to 50% and maintained it. And of course, green, DOC, over red rising as well. So all those things are in pace for new highs. NASDAQ's already been doing it. The NASDAQ had already maintained its positive streak. And so that's where the lift of the S&P is kind of built into the setup, because the NASDAQ was the one that turned around first and never really suffered like the S&P did from that OPEX setup. And then here we have the gold futures, and of course still in a soft period with the white MBI riding over magenta. No change there. Euro is again in a bullish setup, just not producing a whole lot of movement yet. But still within that possibility of pushing back up to that 50%. It's just really the flux is taking place within the reserve banks these days on who's printing as much. It's not really about an exchange based on economic activity, because the U.S. is still outpacing in that category. This is just about where do you put your money? In this case, the Eurozone, not the spot. This kind of tells the story right here. I mean, these are the day-to-day, the blue lines. So relatively tiny action within it. We started off with this spike of white up there at the 38 level, which was fine. And it just didn't produce a whole lot of movement, even though the expectation would be to move to the 0%. So it was one of those delayed setups here where you continue to have magenta rise, and then even when this rollover took place, it still wasn't enough because you didn't have the white. And then finally popped up a little bit later, and I got to the 23, so it was like, okay, maybe we're going to get there. But slow build, turnaround, and magenta was back up above, but white resurged and almost got to the 0% in that particular case. And then the secondary one was sort of like, now you've had a series of them, and it was just a matter of what was going to happen first, how far up the 0% was going to rise before it got there. And in this case, didn't go very far before reaching that 0% close of the day. And right after that, bullish setup took place with magenta over, and you're seeing the effects of that one. All positive extremes within it too. So starting from the low right there at 36 is the beginning of retrace setups, and the second wave, which is this is the one we'll be most likely to fill in the first pullback around the 43 range. So all in all, pretty clean from an action standpoint. Just a matter of whether or not you want to be, and this is a situation where I pointed out in our Skype chat as well. It's not wrong to be long, but it's also not wrong to be short. It's just you know that if you're going to stay short within a configuration like this, when you have this holding on like that, it's just bouncing back and forth, and as long as the magenta stays above. Particularly, I look forward to the white being above red, because the more white is above red on a continuous basis, the longer your expectation for decline, even when you have magenta still above. You can see that it still produces some down waves, and then when it dips below, usually you get your strongest upticks. In fact, even right here when the red shoots above, that was the precursor for the nice rise going into the end. And so you can see right here with white MBI below, it still hasn't stopped. Now, getting close, and you have the breakdown here of the magenta in that, but you really would need to see that white cross over. And of course, shakeout showing that rising gold just starting. So I don't think that bull run is done just yet. Just keep monitoring as it goes, though. As always, though, look for me on the Skype chat. Trade well.